a serial entrepreneur, a small business owner, being the boss. If you haven't done it and you're contemplating it, and I suspect many of you are, because I'm also a member of the National Black MBA, and I know most of my friends in there are in corporate America, but all want to do their own thing, either part-time or full-time. I'm here to share some things with you about life as a small business owner, similarities to corporate America, some must-have attributes, some personal characteristics you must possess if you want to run the show, practical don'ts and do's, some tips that I think will be helpful, some things that some of them may even seem minor, but they are things that I have seen put people into bankruptcy and foreclosure, some of the little things that we tend to forget when we get caught up in our work day. And I hope when you leave here you have enough information to decide if the life of an entrepreneur is for you. There we go. If you take away nothing else today, this is what I want to leave with you. Family first. I know you've had a lot of VPs, CEOs, very important people come and talk to you and say really big words that I don't know. But these are the two that I want you to remember from me. The people around you, your partners, your family, those are the people who must be first and foremost in your priority if you want to be successful in any type of business, but particularly in small business. You need them to help you. Those are my sons standing next to me by the weight equipment, and they are both in college. And when I owned the GNC franchise, one of the things I'll talk about, they actually worked there. They were very, very young. That's how they learned math. That's how they learned to rotate stock and inventory. That's how they learned to clean, and that's also how they got their salary, not their allowance, but their tax-deductible salary. So it is how you can get them involved, and they understood that they had to work in order to earn that money. Just little things you can do to keep them involved, even though you're quite busy. Bill Gates, you know who he is. I don't have to tell you about Bill Gates, but one of the things he says is the secret to wealth accumulation is one wife. Now, as a divorced person, I don't know that I agree with that because Donald Trump is also a billionaire. However, I do know that a stable personal life is essential. And when you look around, when things are falling apart in your world, wherever you are, I think if you look at your home life, you'll find that that's the root cause of it. I'm just putting that out there. There's 2 cents. You can buy what you want to with it. I am a best-selling author. I have my own publishing company, Timek Books. I'm just telling you a little bit about my background so we can talk and ask questions later so you'll know what I've done and what I can do. I like to reinvent myself. I've always loved writing, but like you, I went to professional school. I went to dental school at the University of Minnesota. I went to college at Baylor University, and I really got caught up in the dental thing. But my passion is writing. My passion is speaking, and I was never quite happy, even though I had my own practice, even though I was in charge of doing my own thing. If you don't feel your passion, you will suffer from spiritual anorexia, and nothing will ever be enough. Those are also my sons on the cover of the book there, I Stand Accused, one of my novels. And when they went on tour with me, it was a business trip. See, I work them in every way that I can. And that's my new novel, Symphony. Another thing is, if you don't like relentless self-promotion, you should not be an entrepreneur because you will have to talk about your business or your product all the time. And I'm serious. If that's not what you like to do, you either need a partner who does it, or I'd recommend you not go into it because word of mouth is going to be your best source of clients. And as Dr. Burrows said, I wrote a column for the first Arlington Star-Telegram, then the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Did not go to J school, had a Sunday column that ran 3 times a week, and all the other writers just hated me because with a science background, I was able to do that. But all I'm saying to you is, if you have a gift, if you have something you enjoy, even if you can't do it full time, don't feel like you can't do it at all. I think you guys had Yvonne Van Dyke there, here to speak with you, sitting next to me there on the panel that I was on at a corporate civic function, speaking to a group for the National Diversity Council. You can do a lot of things, and that's me at a little school up the street that you might have heard of, Baylor University, my alma mater. Variety. If you like variety, if you like creating things, if you like doing new things and challenges, entrepreneurship is a good way to do it. Let's talk about owning a franchise. I'm sure you guys are talking about these things as part of your program. I was, with my ex-husband, owned a General Nutrition Center franchise for 8 years in Arlington, store number 1908. I can forget my cell phone number, but I cannot forget store number 1908. It was a huge part of our lives. I was practicing dentistry at the time and writing, but it's a great way to learn the nuts and bolts of whatever business you're considering. There's some advantages and some disadvantages, but even with the business background, there are going to be some peculiar things about the industry, about the business that you don't know, and I highly suggest you learn either with or on somebody else's own time before you commit 5, 6, 7 figures to it. What I liked about franchising was, again, I could involve my family. You own your own business. You get the business identity, name, trademarks. I would have to explain Anderson Supplements. GNC, people automatically knew, and they came. We got the foot traffic, we got the commercials, we got billboards, things that we would not have been able to do without being part of that company. Purchase in volume and better prices. That's how they can stay in business and compete with Walmart and other companies who are also selling vitamins now, but they don't have trained staff. That's what I liked about them. You had to go to school in Pittsburgh. If you did not pass the franchising exam after 3 incredibly intense weeks of 12-hour days of learning everything there is to know that some people probably take a year to learn, you could not get a franchise. And I learned things that I still use. Everything, there's no wasted experience. Even my failures, I still use to propel myself forward. Complete package, co-op, national and local advertising. There's a lower rate of failure, 52 to 80%, which is much lower than the average, much better than the average small business. And it's little known that Singer Sewing Company started this method of doing business in 1893. Franchising is not new. McDonald's might have perfected it, but it's been around for a minute. And I was talking to my banker the other day. Financing is getting better. As you know, from home loans to business loans, it's getting harder and harder to get financing. But they are easing up a little bit on the purse strings at the banks of small loans with SBA backing. But you have to have asset collateral. If your credit is jacked up, that's what you need to work on first. Before your business plan, before anything else. And I'm not talking about student loans. That happens. But if your credit isn't good, that's where you start with your entrepreneurship journey, is getting that together. Operations manual. Disadvantages of a franchise are there's a substantial upfront investment, anywhere from $84,000 for a Subway to $13 million for a Hampton Inn, and even more for some other businesses. It's a long-term relationship. We had a 10-year relationship with them. 10-year contract, and their contracts are almost ironclad. You still need an attorney to look at it, but they don't often alter them or modify them. So whatever you see in there, they're pretty much pulling the strings as far as that goes. You lose some independence, but it's your business. You can still make some decisions. I really like this way of learning about business, and a lot of our friends who were also GNC franchisees eventually left GNC and opened their own business, but were very successful because of that experience. So you don't have to stay with them forever. You do have to pay royalties. They were about 6%. And the company-owned units, this is what they won't tell you in the franchise disclosure agreement, is that the company-owned units often get preferential treatment. That is the only reason you see that available in limited quantities at participating stores. It's not that they don't want to participate, But if they have a limited amount of whatever the product or the special is, it is going to the company-owned units. That's just a fact of business. It happens everywhere. People promote their cross-eyed son over you. It's just life. But you need to know that before you get there. Nothing wrong with cross-eyed people. If you're cross-eyed, I love you dearly. But I'm just saying. Now, I've talked about some things that have gone well for me. Rehab was good there for a while. Rehabbing commercial real estate, rental properties. I was heavily into that. I owned about 20 residential properties. And the trick there, of course, is finding good tenants. But this is why I'm working 5 days now. The vault. You know how you just think something could possibly go wrong? Went into partnership with the former general manager of the Four Seasons in Dallas. And it was a limited liability corporation. Lots of doctors, physicians, dentists jumped on board. My accountant said it was great. And it was in a Mediterranean, upscale Mediterranean restaurant. I just wanted to go out and take a little bit more risk, do something a little different. And everything looked good on paper. But you can see the sad obituary there, 2009 to 2010, bad timing. In this economy, even though we were situated underneath some $500,000 to $2 million condos, and we had an exclusive agreement to provide meals for them. And you know, people with $2 million condos don't really cook. So that worked out well. The problem was they don't eat a lot either. So we went belly up fairly quickly. And you know, the other thing I learned from that is I should have listened to my son. I took my sons there to eat after our grand opening, and granted, they don't have the most sophisticated palates, but they are young men with good opinions. They also told me to jump on that Facebook thing, but anyway. After we ate there, my oldest son told me, "Mom, this food sucks." Now, that's not exactly coming from an analyst, but that was pretty much the bottom line. We were up against a lot of steakhouses in downtown Austin. We thought it would be nice to give people another choice. But folks in Fort Worth like steaks. Live and learn. But all of that is to say, even with a good location, even with good management, even with a good product, sometimes the timing just isn't right, so you need a backup at all times. I'm all for optimism and the secret, but you need a backup plan in the event that things don't go as designed. I have always kept my license, and I've taken a hiatus here and there to start a new enterprise from dentistry, but I've always kept my license, done my continuing ed, kept up on all the regulations and the new technology. I enjoy dentistry. It's my profession. But you can have a passion different from your profession. I'm very good at it. I was in private practice many years, so my practice to come here, I've been an associate, I've been an independent contractor, I've been a director, and right now I'm with St. David's. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the foundation, the non-health arm of the hospital, but we do free dentistry to children who don't have access to it from these state-of-the-art mobile vans, and I love it. It fits in with my philosophy of giving, my philosophy of living. If you can find that combination of an employee, some nice earned incomes without the headache of wearing a pager, personnel crying, you know, my dental assistants were all young in their 20s, and somebody was just crying all the time, every day, about something. I don't miss that at all. At St. David's, I do the best I can, quality dentistry for the kids, give them what they need. So there's a way that you can merge your need for independence with earned income, passive portfolio, and still have a good time. Daniel Pink said the secret to high performance and satisfaction is a deeply human need to direct our own lives. So I'm talking to you now who go to the office and the voices are screaming in your head. No matter what the big corner office looks like, no matter how many promotions you get, you just feel like you need to get out of there. That's the entrepreneur spirit in you. And it's time. It's a good time to take a risk. a calculated risk and start your own business. If you're not getting that deeply human need to direct your own lives, if you're in one of the places where you just regurgitate and go to meeting after meeting and talk about what you talked about, I like to talk about new things. I cannot stand talking about what we talked about. I was getting in trouble at first, even at St. David's, because we'd have a meeting and they'd say, "What do you think, Mo?" I said, "I think what I thought the last 3 times we talked about this. Why are we still on this?" I had to learn you don't say that. So, anyway, we're moving forward with that. But I am learning to be a team player. Buzzwords. You guys know these words. Change management, globally linguistic, engagement, 3-hour lunches, sleep. If these words, these ideas make you tingly and happy, stay where you are, because you will not sleep much anymore and you will not have long lunches. New words do not make money, and really entrepreneurship boils down to productivity. New concepts. I like new concepts, not just new words. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. I was reading Business Week. This is January 17th to the 23rd. Harvard's Friedman, despite his criticism, says in the past 2 years, more economists have incorporated credit market frictions into their models. In other words, they have acknowledged that not all consumers and businesses can borrow at reasonable rates at all times. I mean, do we really need somebody to issue the edict that if you cannot afford a house, don't buy it? I know who Mr. Friedman is, but credit market friction to me is just a way of saying don't spend 70% of your income on a house. Those types of things frustrate me. If they frustrate you as well, you are more of an action person.
It can be hard to know when you need a new job. As a rule, if you hate going to work every day, it may be time. If you hate going to work and your coworkers don't respect you, hey dummy, it may be time. If you hate going to work, your coworkers don't respect you, dummy, and you always wish you were somewhere else, it may be time. If you hate going to work, your coworkers don't respect you, dummy, you wish you were somewhere else, and you cry constantly, it may be time. If you hate going to work, no one respects you, you wish you were somewhere else, you cry constantly, and you daydream of punching small animals. Oh dear. If you hate going to work, no one respects you, you wish you were somewhere else, you cry constantly, you daydream of punching small animals, and you sit next to this guy, it may be time. If you make loads of money, it may not be time. But if you make loads of money, you hate going to work, no one respects you, you wish you were somewhere else, you cry constantly, you daydream of punching small animals, and you sit next to this guy, it's probably time. As a rule.
That commercial cracks me up. I know a lot of you guys probably saw it during one of the Super Bowls a couple of years ago. I think I missed the next quarter because I was laughing so hard. But it just goes back to what I'm saying. If all your spiritual needs are not being met, even if your financial are, it may be time. Entrepreneurship is not for the timid. If you are totally risk averse, it's not for you. You will have to take some chances. You'll make some investments. You'll try some ideas. You'll do some new things that may or may not work. But when they do, it is so rewarding. It is so wonderful. It is so exciting to know that you are going to directly reap the benefits of all of your effort. Nobody's going to take credit for what you did. You don't have to get everything. Run it by legal, but sometimes we have an idea, and HR's got to look at it, legal's got to look at it, 15 subcommittees have got to look at it. You just lose all your passion by the time the idea finally gets to fruition and no longer looks anything like the baby that you birthed. That's the nice thing about being fluid and being able to move quickly. John Maxwell, 17 Essential Qualities of a Team Player, says discipline is doing what you really don't want to do, so that you can do what you really want to do. You guys have clearly demonstrated you already have discipline. I know what sacrifices you're making with your careers, with your families, to come here to participate in this wonderful program, but it's going to pay off. You've already demonstrated one of the great qualities of an entrepreneur is perseverance and being able to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. Again, I can't emphasize enough how much work is involved. Sometimes people give up just because they get tired, and part of that you learn to delegate. But a Gallup poll study, aggregated study from '06 to '09, said self-employed workers average 60 hours a week, larger than any other sector. And I dare say that's a bit low, more like 80. And I put that in after my day job, but I'm doing what I love, and it doesn't feel like that, because the intellectual capital is a return on investment in yourself. Where do you start? I'm going to go through these quickly because Dr. Burroughs and team can tell you a lot more about starting with the concept and backing it up with well-researched numbers. You will definitely have a leg up on everybody else. Business plan. I don't know why a lot of my friends it's like attorneys who don't have a will, insurance agents without life insurance. They go into business, even with all their backgrounds, and do not have a plan. They have an idea. You've got to have a map of where you want to go. We're going to start with that. Executive summary, legal structure. Now you got to have a web plan. Social networking is free, great marketing. Profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow. And here's the part I'm going to add in. You have to hit the street. Do your research yourself, not online. You cannot learn everything online. When I was doing vending machines, carpenter ants kept eating up my products, and someone who'd been in the business a long time told me to put Vaseline on the legs of the machines. You can't use pesticide, but the insects get caught in the Vaseline. Those are the types of things that you learn from your mentors, from working in the store, in the franchise, in the industry, in the office, that you just will not read in a book, will not get in school quite often. You have to pay taxes on your title. You've got to join the chamber. You've got to join organizations. You cannot just be an island and be a small business owner. It just doesn't work out. It doesn't pan out. And another thing I would tell you is, as you're looking at a location, visit at different times of day. You'll find that on Sunday, maybe there's no traffic. You can plan not to be open that day. In the evenings, maybe there are a lot of kids in the parking lot. Maybe they're not. You need to know what is going on. Just like when you're dating, you need to go with them on some holidays, when they're sick, different things. You want to do that as well for prospective businesses. You'd be amazed what you see just as they go through the cycle of a day. Startup myth. This is something we fall into because we're intelligent and we've got some letters behind our name, is thinking we can do everything. And you can, but you can't do it well. I highly recommend a good qualified team before you even sign any contracts with anybody, any lease agreements. An attorney, CPA, banker, insurance agent, IT expert, get them first. Best staff you can afford. It makes all the difference in the world. They will probably make more than you for the first year or two. Just be prepared of that. Be prepared for that. That's part of your startup cost. But in the long term, because of the knowledge base that they bring, the customers that they'll bring in, it will be well worth it. Multiple streams of income, of revenue. You know that profit is not cash flow. What's the number one reason most small businesses fail? Cash flow. Not enough money. Can't make infusions of working capital. They quit their day job. Somebody's got to be working. You, the wife, the kids, assuming they're over the age of 16, somebody has to be working, okay? Don't quit your job too quickly. Even if you have a large family, they're going to ask for discounts. You can't count on them to be your clients. Marketing must-haves. You know these things. I've been over them. I'm going to tell you an interesting story, though. It was interesting to me. I was at the Driscoll one Friday. You guys know the really nice hotel downtown, the Driscoll. I go there on Fridays to unwind. They have a really nice happy hour. They have a bar lounge, really good, cheap food. I'm telling you, if you just got like $8, that's the place to go. But people don't think it's a good place to go. So I'm at the Driscoll's, and I if you guys go on my website, drmoanderson.com, you can see I tweet, I Facebook, I MySpace, I do everything to get my product out there. So I was rather disappointed because I had they were sliders. I don't know what they call them. They've got some fancy Driscoll name, but they were just little hamburgers. and some French fries. And even though I wasn't paying much, I expected them to be good because it's the Driscoll, right? Fries are cold and nasty, so, you know, being me, I get on and I tweet to all 120 of my followers that Driscoll has bad fries. And my Twitter name is at Dr. Mo Anderson. I had scrubs on, and the next thing I know, this guy walks over to me, dressed in this really nice suit, and he gives me his card. And I was like, oh my goodness, whose husband is this? But, so, he gives me his card, and I looked, and it says, John Spomer, S-P-O-M-E-R, Managing Director, the Driscoll. And I thought, is he going to put me out for tweeting this? Surely not. But, you know, I'm from Fort Worth, so I said yes. And he said, well, I understand there's a problem with your fries. And I said, well, the managing director. I said, yeah, they're cold. I mean, you guys usually have pretty good fries, and these are $2. I would expect them to be hot. Not only did I get more fries, he bought the executive shelf out, comped everything over some French fries at the Driscoll. Now, the Driscoll really doesn't need me buying $2 worth of fries, but if it's that important to them and we know how long they've been there and how successful they are, that's how important it is, period. And I know a lot of people, I don't like Facebook, it's for kids. No, it's for everybody now. You have got to get on board. Pay somebody to do it. If you don't want to do it, pay somebody to do it, but you have to be where the people are. It doesn't matter what you like. It's what your customers like, what your clients like, where your demographics is. That's the big deal. You don't want to be this guy in front of Congress apologizing for your company's behavior. In this case, that's Akio Toyota. I may be mispronouncing his name, but the great-grandson of the founder of Toyota is a family-owned company. And we know what happened with the acceleration with their cars, and they knew about it. Time and time again, we find out that, you know, from Bernie Madoff to Kenneth Lake, they knew there were problems. Address it. If you learn one sentence here, other than family first, let it be, I'm sorry, my fault, I accept responsibility, what can I do to correct it? That will get you a long way in business. It'll stop Ms. Jones from complaining. Sometimes it's better just to go ahead and give people their refund. Really and truly, it is. And that's a hard thing to learn, but it's a good thing to learn because karma is a mother. What is success? Okay, that's not a corporate term, but it's the truth. I heard Red McCombs here last year in the Rise Entrepreneurship series. He was awesome. Billionaire. He's had over 200 different ventures, venture capitalists. And he says success is the execution of strategy, doing something with intention, doing it with a plan. I would say you define success for you. Do it now. Before the office, before the car, before the bigger house, before all the material things, and then revisit that frequently, because while it can change and evolve, it shouldn't just change to match your income. There should be a basic fundamental definition of success for you. And when you revisit it, when you see you're getting caught up and stressed out because you don't have what the Joneses have, if you go back and look at that basic definition of what success is for you and your family, it'll ground you. It will ground you. Just keep it up like a vision to remind you that no one else can define success for you. I know what I need to be happy, and that's what really matters. When you start letting television and your colleagues and people with high positions define success, you will never, ever be happy, entrepreneur or not. When you pursue growth over quality, it's a bad road to go down. This is one of the things I do, community service. I started this organization because when I got here 2.5 years ago, it was very, very difficult for me to find African Americans. And I found out that the population of African Americans here, you may not know this, has gone from 15% to 7% in the last decade. The only ethnicity that's waning. And when you miss the cultural aspect of your community, it really gives you an isolated feeling. So people are leaving here because they can't connect can't collaborate. And we have a website portal to point them to organizations they may have been in, civic, cultural organizations. I'm a third generation member of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. I went to the University of Minnesota School of Dentistry. I went to Baylor, two of the whitest schools in America. I love integration. I love diversity. But I also love being in Zeta Phi Beta sorority incorporated that my mother and my grandmother were in. And that's just basic human nature. So I'm trying to help them out, and I only have this up here because UT is one of our title sponsors, and we're very appreciative of that because it's a new community service initiative, and we're going to have it at LBJ Auditorium. This is my favorite and last slide, ladies and gentlemen. In the middle there is Alfred Anderson Jr., my son. You remember I showed you a photo earlier of me at GNC around 1994? In the corner is his brother, who has nothing to do with the presentation, but if he found out that that Tony was in it, he'd be upset. So if you happen to run into him, just say, yeah, he was in it too. No reason whatsoever. But Tony is about to graduate. He's at UTA in Arlington. He's a business major. He wants to own several GNC franchises. I have no doubt in my mind that he will do that, and I am so proud of him. Taking this picture over the Christmas holidays was my favorite moment because I had a flashback. I had to go dig that picture up of me, and I remembered him standing at the cash register, barely able to see, asking me which numbers to press when customers were buying something or when they had a gold card. I would love to be able to give my boys several GNC franchises. I cannot do that. But what I can give them is a legacy of entrepreneurship. I can give them independence. I can give them an education. It goes back to, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but if you teach him to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. That's part of being a good business owner, a good community civic servant, a good family person to me, is giving your family an inheritance that will last. And I am very, very proud of both of my sons. I thank you for your time, and I appreciate you. I applaud you for what you're doing in getting your MBAs. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed this podcast featuring best-selling author, Doctor of Dental Surgery, and motivational speaker, Monica Dr. Mo Anderson. Educational and entertaining, Dr. Mo Anderson has the right prescription for success. To learn more about Dr. Mo or have her speak to your corporate, civic, or student group, visit her online at drmoeanderson.com or on Twitter at drmoeanderson.